It is voting season. A lot of politically charged conversations are happening right now. We want to talk a little bit about this and maybe give you a few suggestions on how to deal with those maybe overly opinionated political people that are always somehow getting
check out that alliteration,
into
bro.
our life. We love these people, but give you some tips on how to deal with them.
All right, so we're going to be talking about that today. And so let's just start off with this big question of what would be our top suggestions in terms of having conversations with people where maybe it gets a little heated, you know, because politics and religion can be a really tricky one to deal with. People get really fired up, they're really passionate, they have their views, and it can turn into a fireball of a conversation, right?
Tip number one.
Go for it.
You don't. Don't talk to them. Actually, this happened to me just the other day. I was into a conversation. I asked actually quite a politically loaded question.
Oh, it sounds like trouble.
And the person did the most wonderful thing they could ever do.
Tell me.
They just looked at me and then looked away.
I love it. Okay.
And I thought maybe they didn't hear me. We were in a group of people, and so I just let it go. And actually, they came back to me and they're like, "Hey, sorry, you know, that's kind of a touchy subject, and I didn't want to talk about it." So that's fine.
Wow.
And it just diffused it, and I walked away. It was great.
Although you weren't actually looking for trouble, I imagine. No. You were just trying to make conversation.
Of course not.
But they sensed
not like
that,
you.
But they sensed, of course, that this was maybe in a group setting just going to start something off, right? So they actually did a very wise thing there and pulled back.
Yeah.
Right, okay, I love that. Okay, so, I mean, when you say don't, we're actually not saying don't in the absolute sense of the word, but you know, think about where you are, think about the people you're with, okay?
Yeah.
So take some responsibility for how the conversation's going to go. I guess I would add the tip in here that we really need to, as much as we want to express our views when we're talking politics or religion, a key thing to effective communication is being willing to listen and hear the other person, even if you disagree.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not willing to hear the other person, then you're not worthy to speak. Could we say that?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I think we could go so far if we were just willing to actually just listen, actually try and understand, because whatever point or view they're holding, it is important, it's valuable to them, as much as your opinions and values are important to you. Yeah, we're not here necessarily to alter or change their mind, but hey, we can listen, and you know, actually, if you boil it down, can I say something a bit scary here?
All right, I'm ready.
That you might be able to agree in little snippets and pieces, maybe from different political parties.
Wow, so even if we're on the opposite end of the spectrum, there might be some issues we could actually agree with each other on. Find common ground might be another tip.
Yeah.
Right? So be willing to listen, be careful about the circle you're in, be sensitive to whether this is going to be explosive or not, and then this idea that we might even be able to find common ground. Well, you know, absolutely, I love that. So,
actually, we need to watch too. I've noticed some people that they can get so visibly upset when it comes to the great topic of politics that it makes them sick. They get angry, you know, they start turning red. And actually, here, let's go to this. This is another tip. This is just for free. Run in those moments. Maybe just leave it all together.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Maybe I could translate that idea into this thing that, remember that relationship comes ahead of anything else, right? Relationship, like you do not want to be sacrificing family relationships, friendship relationships, collegial relationships over political difference, and dare I say it, even religious difference, right? I mean, this idea that relationship comes first, people come first, views, opinions, ideologies. We need to, sure, I mean, we live in a country where we value the freedom of speech and the right to share, and even in religious terms to proselytize, in political terms to shift people's political views. But at the same time, remember that there's no point to that if we're actually destroying people and destroying relationships. So I guess perhaps the big tip is see people ahead of politics, see people ahead of religion. It's this idea of let's actually engage with people in a way that builds relationships. And so if the conversation is going to be unprofitable, then we'd have to really question whether we're going about the conversation right, or whether the individuals involved, myself as well, are mature enough to engage in a way that's relationally, edifying, or whether we actually just need to say, you know what, let's agree to disagree, as the old saying goes.
Yeah.
I respect your view, you respect mine, and we're simply, it's not worth going to war over these things.
Yeah.
What happens on a global national scale, wars over religion and wars over politics, happen on a micro scale between people, and it's destructive.
Yes.
To families, relationships, churches, communities, and so it's actually just not worth going there if that's the cost of sharing my view, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we can still be friends.
I think we can still be friends. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll play
Absolutely.
squash later.
Whatever color you choose. I might be a different color in terms of the political parties, but absolutely, this idea of friendship first, and we can play squash later. Absolutely.
Good. I'll hold you to that.
We'd love to hear from you on that. We'd love for you to give your thoughts and opinions. So please help us as we wrestle with this. And by all means, we'd love to see those comments. We'd love to engage with you in the conversation. So thank you for joining us on the couch today. From Jordan and Adrian, we'll see you again soon.